It's also really important to aim for tiny doses of change. When we're trying to shift a shut down nervous system, it's vital that we apply small doses of any therapy or exercise, as our capacity will be really small at the beginning. Consider how quickly you push yourself. Consider how quickly you move from one topic to another or one task to another. What you want to do is give lots of time for the reptilian dominant shutdown nervous system to react and follow directions. Think about small doses when you're stimulating the nervous system. Don't talk too much. Be gentle with the amount and intensity of touch that you provide. Consider the level of light and sound and other stimulations in your environment. At times, you will definitely do too much. If you're a helper or a therapist, explain and admit that this wasn't your goal, and repair by gently encouraging movement out of shutdown again. If you're living with depression, look for ways to be gentle with your nervous system. It's extraordinarily difficult to do this in 21st century North America. You're living and modeling true self-care. Be realistic about how much change to expect. The shutdown nervous system is slow to resolve and requires time to determine that the world is now safe and that it can let go old patterns of protection. And I think the most important thing we can do as people who are moving in and out of shutdown is to really believe in our nervous system, to know that, although it's moved into this immobilized state, it also has the ability to move out of that. And that, given the right circumstances, given that sense of safety, given that connection to safe others, given lower expectations, and, using tools like the VU sound or humming or gentle stretches to trust that our nervous system has the capacity to make change and to return to good health. We want to look for the exceptions. We want to look for the tiny changes. We want to look for the reassuring gleams of light. And we want to be patient and be consistent and hold space for change and growth. I'd like to really thank you for joining me today. What really is effective at healing depression is feeling like you belong, feeling like there's a safe place where people accept and appreciate and value you. So that is just my plug for that program. And again, if there's any information I've given you during this chat that you want more information about, just let me know. My email address is on the next slide. I want to make sure that your questions get answered too. So I know that I'm keeping you a little bit longer than what I had said we were going to be, but I'm just going to unmute.
So working with young students in a classroom setting, would you recommend like maybe doing some of the touching exercises and getting feedback from them?
I think that's a great idea, Erin. I think that you can explain that what you're doing is helping them to settle their nervous system. You don't even have to use the word depression. Mm-hmm. You can say, that our nervous system goes through all kinds of things like a roller coaster throughout the day, and that, it's hard to learn when your nervous system isn't in learning mode. Yeah. And it's really only going to be in learning mode when you're feeling safe. Right? Mm-hmm. So that you're going to show them some exercises, and I'm going to do this exercise today, and next week I might do another exercise, and that it'll be like a menu, and they can choose from the menu which exercises they find work for them. And you can get to a point where they're actually they're requesting, who wants to do an exercise, and which one do you want to do, and somebody can pick their favorite for that day. It's a really nice way, I think, to begin a learning session, because it will settle their system, and then they're more likely to be able to remember what they're learning and to think cognitively about, when we're in our reptilian or our mammalian brains, we're not cognitive, we're not solving problems, we're not doing math. So it's really important to, and I think it's nice to present it that way, just as, this is a learning tool. Amongst all the other learning tools that I share with you, this is another one.
So my question is, how can we think about the point where depression starts being suicidal ideation, whatever levels come after that?
Yeah. So you're asking me for my perspective on what's happening in the nervous system at that point?
Yeah, and what's happening in the nervous system, and how do we think about the phases? Like there's mild depression, there's, not so mild depression, there's severe depression. I don't know what the proper terms are for those because that's not an area I've particularly studied, but I'm curious about how then we can think about that progression into suicidality. What's going on in the nervous system? How does that all work?
Okay, so I've talked about how changeable the nervous system is, and there are times when we dip into shutdown, right? We dip into that immobilization, that dorsal vagal system, and we dip back out. And I think that happens to all of us. You come home from a tough day and you think to yourself, boy, I just need to sit down, watch TV, not think. Right? We're dipping into that dorsal vagal shutdown. We're dipping into just needing to limit all inputs. And so, it's not called depression as a disease until it's been present for longer than 2 weeks and it fulfills the criteria that's outlined in the Diagnostic and Statistic Manual or in the ICD. When we're talking about the other end of the spectrum, when we're talking about suicidality, what I see as a therapist is that we've reached a place of exhaustion, that we've been in that immobilized state for quite a while, that it's an energy conservation state, and so it's a bit like taking a breath and diving underwater. And you're underwater and you're underwater and you're underwater and you're underwater. And, if the unremitting stress that's pushing your nervous system into that state isn't going away, then it's going to feel desperate. It's going to feel like I have no energy to deal with this problem. I feel alone in dealing with this problem, and the problem isn't solving. It's not even letting up. And I think that's the triad that we get into when suicidal thoughts begin to come. So any one of those points can be addressed as a way of fighting back against suicidal thinking. So we can have connection. We can reach out to somebody who we trust and talk to them. And if they meet us with non-judgment and with support and with, anything, and we don't even have to tell them about our suicidal thinking. We can just say, I'm feeling really low. That might be the language that we use. And if that person says, hey, I really care about you. What can I do? Can I give you a hug? Do you want to go out for tea? Do you want to come over? Do you want me to come over? That can be enough in that circumstance to change that triad and to lift the nervous system out into feeling less hopeless, feeling like there's more capacity, feeling like there's more energy again. So that would be my response. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. Okay, thank you so much for being here and asking questions and providing support. It was really nice to actually see faces. I wasn't sure. There's 62 people that signed up, but so many people weren't able to be here today. So they're going to watch the recording. And I just want to thank you very much for being here and being humans in the room with so that I wasn't alone talking to a machine.
Thank